What's going on, guys? Welcome back. And today, I'm finally going to be reviewing the new LEGO Speed Champions Back to the Future Time Machine set, aka the new DeLorean from Back to the Future. It's been a long time since LEGO has made a minifigure scale, fairly priced DeLorean. I believe 13 years to be exact, so I'm pretty happy to finally have this set after it was on back order for like a month, but I ordered it, it came in the mail, it's here, I've built it, I binged the entire Back to the Future trilogy again, played the level in LEGO Dimensions, and I'm definitely in the mood to review this set. Not only will I be reviewing the DeLorean, however, I'll also be comparing the minifigures in this set to their counterparts from LEGO Dimensions, which are basically identical to the 2013 ones. So without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking things off on the minifigure front, we have none other than Dr. Emmett Brown himself, arguably Christopher Lloyd's most iconic role. On the left here, we have the new 2026 version, and on the right, I have the 2015 version from LEGO Dimensions. Now, I don't see a noticeable difference in quality between these two minifigures. The print for the torso is quite similar, except this new version has a belt with tools on it, which the 2016/2015 one did not have. The jacket is also a little more open on the 2015 version, the newer one also having more added orange details, which I suppose is slightly more accurate for the character. This new version comes equipped with a wrench, like every Speed Champion set. The biggest difference is probably the face prints for these two minifigures. The eyebrows are much more pronounced on this newer version. The older one is a bit more subtle when it comes to its printing. I believe the one difference that the LEGO Dimensions version has to the 2013 one is that Doc had the standard Widow's Peak hairpiece, whereas his variant in LEGO Dimensions introduced this new hairpiece, which they have used for him ever since. And it's obviously fantastic because it was especially molded for this character. Flipping around the faces, we can see a vast difference here. The 2015 one is a very scared version of Doc, capturing the very theatrical expressions from Christopher Lloyd, whereas this one is more confused or agitated. I do like the added detail of the bandage on his forehead for when he hit his head on the bathroom sink and conceptualized the flux capacitor and, of course, time travel. When it comes to these Doc minifigures, the one thing I would like is some dual molded legs, just with black boots, something like what we've seen on Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't know. Having the legs be plain white doesn't sit well with me, considering how well detailed the rest of these minifigures are. But overall, they're both really good, and I can't pick a definitive winner among these two. Moving right along, we have the titular Marty McFly, and there is a much more noticeable difference between these two minifigures, because the 2026 version not only has a completely different color for the jeans, he also has a new hair color using the lighter brown instead of the darker brown that the 2015 and 2013 versions of the character used. But he also has this new vest piece, which I believe was used in the Dreams sets or something. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what I've heard. The stud on the back is a little bit distracting, but aside from that, I believe this vest offers a significant improvement upon the older minifigure, because you can actually remove it and have Marty with his plain blue and gray sweater underneath, which helps a lot because he does look like this at some points throughout Back to the Future when he isn't wearing that vest over top. The one massive downgrade from the original minifigure, however, as everyone has pointed out, is this dumbass reused Alden Ehrenreich Han Solo face. I can't tell you how many characters have reused this same head, despite having a terrible resemblance to the characters that it's being used for. And this is possibly one of the most egregious examples of that, because it looks nothing like Michael J. Fox. So, if I were to make the definitive Marty, I believe he'd look something like this. Obviously, I've replaced the new, reused, garbage Han Solo head with the far superior 2015 face. But I've also replaced the hairpiece because I don't think this piece has that strong of a resemblance to Marty McFly. I think this dark brown Steve Trevor or Peter B. Parker wavy hairpiece works a lot better for the character. So all I've done is plop that 2015 head and this different hairpiece on the 2026 version, and I think this is pretty much the definitive variation of Marty McFly that you can create in LEGO form. With the minifigures over and done with, let's take a look at the DeLorean itself. And can I just say, what a beauty this thing is. I was watching the first Back to the Future film while building this set, and I was astounded by how many details there are and how accurate it is to the way this vehicle appears in the films. Now, obviously, there are some faults. As people have pointed out, there are no gull-wing doors, so you can't lift them up. Instead, you can just remove the windscreen and plop both Marty and Doc in there. But I do love that there's space for both of them to occupy the driver and passenger seat in there. There are a lot of excellent printed pieces included in this set, thankfully, because I have never dreaded stickers more in my life than when I saw the images of this set. But thankfully, the only noteworthy stickers here are the two on either side here, the one on the back with the DeLorean logo, and this sticker right here. Other than that, we've got prints all around. All of these prints are not stickers. I was dreading these all being stickers, but they aren't. That is a print. The license plate on the back, which is replaceable, as we'll get to later, is also a print. We even have a fishing rod being used to represent the lightning rod that Marty and Doc attach to the back so that they can direct the lightning that strikes the Hill Valley clock tower into the DeLorean so Marty can travel back to the future. As I said, so many excellent details. Even the axles inside the wheels are printed, which I did not expect. The rear view mirrors here are also quite cool, and I like the use of these wire pieces, which are a bit challenging to apply. You really have to bend them all around the build, but once you complete that, it looks hella smooth on the car itself. Now, the one thing that does kind of bug me is how loose everything is in the main part of the car here. The back has a similar problem because there are a lot of crazy details sticking off it. We've got binoculars, these rods coming off the sides, roller skate pieces, even a unicorn horn being used for some piece of technology. The difference is that we aren't sticking minifigures in the back, and when you're trying to squeeze Doc and Marty in here, they kind of dislodge some of the parts around them, including this magnet piece sticking off the back, a microphone piece being used as a joystick. Even the steering wheel comes off really easily, which I don't love. It could also be the one downside of this new Marty vest piece, is that it's so puffy, it kind of knocks a lot of pieces out of the way as a result of its size. So when you're putting Marty and Doc in here, maybe you just want to take that off. What does redeem this, however, are these amazing printed pieces, because as previously mentioned, we have the time circuits right here on a 1x2 brick, which looks fantastic. We have the November 5th, 1955 as the destination, and October 26th, 1985. Just a beautiful piece. It's things like this that will definitely increase the value of this set as time goes on. Right next to it, we have a sloped tile with the plutonium chamber on it. However, that's a sticker, oddly enough. On the back, though, we have the flux capacitor itself as a printed window piece, which also looks awesome. It was kind of hard to get in place, but once it's actually positioned in there behind Doc and Marty as it appears in the films, You really can't complain. It fits so well. But of course, this set does have two different modes, and I would be remiss not to show you both. So here it is with the 2015 upgrades. Of course, the most noticeable detail here being the hovering or flying wheels, which look pretty neat. We also have the Mr. Fusion compostable device in place of the nuclear reactor core that Doc retrieves in the future, in addition to the updated 2015 license plate on the back instead of the iconic 1985 out-of-time plate, once again entirely printed, which I absolutely love to see. Now, as some people have pointed out, this is also a slight downgrade from the 2013 version of this vehicle, because with that version, you could actually just fold the wheels into position to change it from the 1985 to 2015 version. Here you have to completely remove them, change the pieces that you're using from these Technic axles to these pins attached to these hinges, which you have to squeeze into place underneath the hubcaps, which I don't love. It's also very annoying getting these Technic pins out of place, removing them so that you can convert it back to the grounded version of the DeLorean. It's a little bit tedious and kind of annoying, but once you have it in this mode, it looks really neat, and I can imagine it would look pretty cool using a translucent stand as if it is flying alongside some other Back to the Future memorabilia. One other thing that might have been nice is having a third variation of this set for details which would make it accurate to the 1885 version of the DeLorean that we see in Back to the Future Part 3. But I can understand their choice not to do that because it isn't all that dissimilar from the versions of the DeLorean that we see here or in Parts 1 and 2. The only things that are really different is it would look a lot more beat up and would have more engine parts sticking out of it. I've even seen some videos on YouTube of some simple modifications you can make to add the Back to the Future Part 3 details, so I don't mind that much. And it is very evident that the set designers cared a hell of a lot about this set and the Back to the Future franchise, because while building it, I was looking at the instruction booklet and noticed a really funny little detail. Once you get to the 80 pages mark, nothing seems remiss. You've got 87, normal black text, but once you get to 88, we've got the time circuit design and a lightning bolt striking it, of course, to represent you reaching 88 pages, but also the DeLorean reaching 88 miles per hour, which is such a fun little Easter egg. I love stuff like that, and as I said, it communicates a clear level of passion on the part of the set designers. And all around, this is a fantastic Lego set. It's a very well-built vehicle, in addition to being an accurate representation of the DeLorean that we see in the Back to the Future films. As I've stated, the people working on it clearly cared. There is an immense attention to detail throughout. I love the new printed pieces. The updated Doc and Marty are excellent, despite some annoyances with the Marty minifigure and a few faulty components throughout the set. It is certainly worth the price at $35. It's been incredibly popular. I mean, it wouldn't have sold out immediately, and I wouldn't have waited a month to get it if it wasn't popular. So if you haven't already, I obviously recommend you pick this set up. Even if you are just a general Lego fan and not a Back to the Future fan, obviously if you are a Back to the Future fan, that's the reason you're going to want to get this. But even if you're just a car person and want to have a DeLorean, I mean, I think you should pick it up. I was texting my friend who isn't even a Lego collector like me, and he said he actually wants to get it because it is worth the bang for your buck. For once. I don't know how this set squeaked through the cracks, but here we are, and I'm not going to complain. You guys let me know, what are your thoughts on the LEGO Speed Champions Back to the Future Time Machine, aka the DeLorean? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me and think it isn't that great? Just whatever your thoughts are, please let me know them all in the comments below. And of course, as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye.